What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F122 My Team Career Mode. Last time we were at the Dutch Grand Prix, and after qualifying on pole and leading for 22 laps, our car broke down. As you can see here, it was an MG UK failure, which meant that our championship rival, Alex Albon, managed to take the lead of the Grand Prix, and yeah, he won the race and extended the lead in the championship by another 26 points because he got fastest lap as well, which takes his lead in the championship to over 50 points at this point. So even if he has 2 DNFs, he will still be mathematically leading the championship no matter what happens. So we're going to need some serious good luck going forwards from this point on if we want to beat Albon in the championship. I really can't see it happening, quite frankly, especially as we're going into Monza, which is one of my weakest tracks on the calendar. You may remember a couple years ago, I was involved in a championship battle. I was getting ready to extend my advantage beyond the level that it could be beaten. We came to Monza. I got caught up in a first lap incident with Daniel Ricciardo, had to pit, and I got stuck in 17th for the entire Grand Prix, could not move forward. I'm hoping that won't happen this time. I really think that we have a good chance of at least getting, you know, like top 5 or something like that. That would be the ideal scenario here. I'm not looking for a win, even though I've never won here before. I'm not even looking for a podium, honestly. I just want to score good points. That's what I really want. You know, if Albon could not have such a good result, that would be ideal. But as we get through practice, you can see that despite the fact that my pace wasn't bad, you know, we came 4th, Albon's still on top and 5.5 tenths faster than me. So yeah, there's a lot we have to do here if we want to challenge Alex Albon. But I really don't even think that I'm going to be able to do that this weekend. Usually I like to go into race weekends feeling at least a little bit optimistic about what we're capable of. The only thing that I think might put us a little bit in the fight here is the fact that typically in Monza it tends to throw up a bit of chaos. You know, there's some corners where there's a bit of chaos. Maybe someone goes off the track, or maybe, you know, 2 people crash into each other or something like that, and maybe it brings out a safety car, maybe it brings out you know, I was going to say a red flag, that's not till next game, but you know what I mean. There's usually a bit of chaos that I can capitalize on in my experience, so I'm hoping that that it will be a similar kind of situation here, where I'll be able to thrive on the chaos generated by other cars around me, and hopefully stay out of the drama myself. You know, I'm very consistent. I rarely ever make any massive mistakes. There's just some weekends where I'm, you know, bizarrely lacking in pace compared to the AI, compared to other circuits. You know, like Zandvoort, I was right there, right? I was literally the fastest guy on track quite comfortably. I got pole. I was leading away for 22 laps. You know, we did have a little bit of a scrap a couple times, but generally speaking, you know, I felt like I had it under control and I could have brought it home in those last 14 laps. But yeah, I don't know. Places like Monza, I feel like you know, I'm not getting pole. We do a 1:19.3 to kick things off, and I remember at the time I was saying I didn't even do a time that bad in free practice. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised by the pace I showed there, but fortunately we managed to get our act together for the second lap of Q1, and we improved by over 1.1 seconds, which means we're going to be into the 1:18.1s, which is a lot better, and that will see us through in P4, and that's the kind of energy I want to keep for the remainder of qualifying. If we can get that kind of result in P2 and P3, sorry, I mean Q2 and Q3, then we should be absolutely fine, right? Albon P5, so we actually did outperform him, even if it was only by 4 thousandths of a second. And more than that, there was actually a penalty applied to Pierre Gasly, I assume for some kind of blocking or something like that. And Enzo Fittipaldi has one too. No real shock exits here, I would say. Both Aston Martins, both Alfa Romeos, Magnussen and Tsunoda. Nobody that I'm looking at and going, man, that's really surprising. They should have definitely made it through. But you know, all kinds of random things happen in this game at this point. We're in season 7 of My Team Career Mode, so yeah, really anything is still possible. We're now into Q2. We're on a used set of soft compound tyres this time. We do a 1:18.8, and I would wage to say that's not going to be good enough to see us through to the following session, or if it is, it will be barely. So yeah, we go through. We're currently running in P11, so we were actually right on the cusp, but we did need to improve. So I'm glad that I chose to go out on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. I managed to find a little bit of improvement, not that much, only just under 5/10. It's a 1:18.3, which was slower than my best time in Q1, but it still got the job done. It got us through in P7. So yeah, hopefully we can have a good result in Q3, and like I said, maybe get top 5 or something like that. That would be the perfect situation. But I don't really know if I'm strong enough to get into the 117s. If I am, it will only be like a 117.8, 117.9, and clearly a 117.5 or better is possible for the AI, so I still think I'm in trouble here. Max Verstappen is out. That's probably the biggest surprise here. That and Lance Stroll not setting a time, but that's, I think, because he crashed or something like that. He had a DNF in the session. I didn't show you because I didn't think it was that important, but yeah, either way, Verstappen out is the big one, and it means that we should be able to extend our advantage in the rivalry on him this weekend, hopefully, provided he doesn't have a surprisingly good race. But we'll see what happens. We do a 1:18.7 on a used set of soft compound tyres, so now we have to see whether we can do anything on a fresh set and try and make the case for us getting pole position. We're about 5/10 up as we come through the Ascari chicane, and we're going to need to find a bit more improvement if we want to get into the 117s. Gasly there is a 1:18.4. We're currently running faster than that, so I reckon we'll be at least P6, maybe P5, something like that. As we round the final corner, we find a tiny bit more improvement, another 10th or so, nothing too major, and we're going to come up to the line, cross it with a 1:18.2. And in the end, that was good enough for P5. So we achieved what we set out to do. I was aiming to get 5th or better, and we got 5th. So I will take it.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Albon, Russell, and Charles Leclerc. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry. We'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
It's a tiny bit frustrating to think that if I'd have been able to find the kind of form that I had in Q1, with the 1:18.1, which was actually my best time of qualifying, despite the fact it was in the first session, I would have probably got P4 ahead of Carlos Sainz. And, you know, this track has a long run down to turn 1, which is making me think that I'm going to have almost no chance of getting, you know, a good start and jumping some of the cars around me. But maybe if I go for a bit of a dodgy dive bomb or something like that, then perhaps I might be able to force the AI out of the way and get up into P4 or P3 maybe even, if I'm really confident. But I will have to I'll have to take a very aggressive line in order to do that. So it's going to be easier said than done. But you know, it still is very, very possible, and hopefully hopefully we can have a good race, maybe try and sneak our way onto the podium or something like that, but I honestly don't know. I really feel like, you know, the best opportunity I was going to have here was going to be in qualifying, and, you know, if we can just finish P5, if we can convert this 5th place qualifying into a 5th place finish in the race, then that will be more than good enough for me. And yeah, we'll see what we can do in the race. I know there's a couple of people with penalties, but I don't think any of them are starting near us, unfortunately. So we're not really going to be able to capitalise on those. Albon obviously got pole as well, so it's looking like he's going to be extending his championship lead even more as we get into the Italian Grand Prix.
We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today, here at the oldest circuit on the calendar, which hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes. And with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Alex Albon leads us away from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Robinson, and Norris. Ricciardo, Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher, and Oscar Piastri. Verstappen, Ocon, Pierre Gasly and Joe, Stroll, Tsunoda, Nicholas Latifi and Felipe Drugovich, Magnussen, Fittipaldi. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Lundgaard and Théo Pourchaire. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Once again, Mark has nothing to say to me, nothing whatsoever. He's just like, yeah, you're on your own, mate. Get on with it. You know, just race and win. It's that easy, isn't it? But it's not. It really isn't around here, because the AI is mega on the straights. Absolutely mega. The traction that they get here compared to me is unfathomable. Hopefully, in the new game, the thing I'm most interested to see is whether they have changed just how OP being on 0-0 wings is. Because I really don't feel like I gain that much in the corners when I go on. I'm on like 2-4 wings or something like that. It's not like I'm on like 10, 12 or something like that. You know, I am on a very low front wing, but still, you know, the AI just seems like it's so much faster than me in a straight line, despite the fact that we're supposed to have the fastest car as well, so I don't really know. But anyway, we're going to see if we can do anything as the lights come on and the lights go out. And yeah, we've gotten away pretty well, especially compared to Charles Leclerc there, who has already found his way down into P4, although he comes back as Sainz is stuck behind George Russell. Alex Albon leading by a lot right now. We briefly kind of go off the track, but not really, and we managed to find our way around the outside of Carlos Sainz, but in the end he has the superior traction on the exit of the corner, and this is exactly the kind of thing I was talking about. How is it that the AI are so fast in the traction zones? I do not get it. You know, I've tried playing on medium traction control as well, and it really doesn't seem to make a difference. You know, because people have said to me, as the virtual safety car gets deployed for an incident that it's not clear what, people have said to me, you know, the reason why I have such bad traction is because I'm on full traction control rather than medium traction control. But it really doesn't seem to make that much of a difference to me. You know, I do very similar lap times with medium or full, and you know, the traction seems pretty much the same as well, if maybe a little bit worse. So basically the only thing that's happening when I'm on medium traction control is that it's way more likely that I spin. And I know that they're fixing the traction stuff for F1 23, and I just cannot wait because I am so keen for it. We're going to sneak a move up the inside here of Carlos Sainz at the Parabolica and find our way into P4, but can we hold on to this on the run down the straight? Perhaps, because not only have I got ahead of Carlos Sainz, but Esteban Ocon has found his way into P5 as well. I don't remember where he even started in this race, but I know he was behind both of the McLarens, so he's obviously made up like 3 or 4 places so far this race, which is, you know, pretty impressive from Esty Bestie there. We managed to hold him off for the time being as Russell and Leclerc are dueling over that third place position. And yeah, you can see that now as we move on to lap 4, they are a little bit up the road. Carlos Sainz getting back past me before we reach the Ascari chicane. And yeah, that is going to be me down into P5. We go over the track, and just to add insult to injury, I'm now going to be overtaken by Esteban Ocon as well. So we lose 2 places and we get a warning for going off the track. So we're going to have to be careful not to get a penalty now if we want to try and finish this race in any respectable position. Because I already know that wherever I finish in this race, I'm probably going to be leading a train behind me. That's just how it goes, right? So we move on to lap 6, and you can see I'm now coming under pressure from Lando Norris, who is definitely going to be ahead of me with the DRS before the Ascari chicane, but maybe we can try and stay with him and get back past him at some point soon. We'll burn a little bit of battery on the run down to the Parabolica, but not too much because I want to save some for the main straight, obviously. And yeah, we'll see if we can maybe get him back with the DRS or something, and not get sucked into a DRS train behind the McLaren man, who is not having anywhere near as good of a season as he's been having in the seasons beforehand. You know, he was world champion in 2024, and he was contending with me in 26 and 27. But this season, he has not looked anywhere near that trophy, unfortunately. I think it's due to the car primarily, and I mean, you can see there we do manage to get back past him. It was not the cleanest move I've ever done. We ended up misjudging the braking point a little bit, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I think he might actually potentially be coming to challenge us back. You know, he has got the superior traction, obviously. As Albon is still leading the Grand Prix by a country mile. He's like 5 seconds up the road from Leclerc, I think. He's, yeah, really fast in this race so far. We go back onto lap 9, end of lap 9 now. You can see that Norris did get back past me in the end, but we are going to pit and see if we can perhaps pull off an undercut on him, and maybe Sainz as well. Ocon coming into the pit on those soft compound tyres too. He was losing quite a lot of time to the cars around him on the medium compound tyres towards the end of the stint. So yeah, we're going to be putting on the mediums to the end of the Grand Prix, and hopefully they will get us there with no issues whatsoever. 18 laps on them is not too many, but it could potentially lead to some low grip in the last few laps. But maybe if there's a safety car or something like that, we'll be all right, and we should be able to make it to the end without too much of a hassle. But yeah, still a long way to go in this race, so we'll see what we are capable of doing as we keep progressing through. So now we move on to lap 11, it's going to be, and we cross the line, and we're coming under pressure from Max Verstappen, who I think had an early incident in the race and had to box for hard compound tyres to the end. And that's actually working out for him here, because he tries to go up the inside of me. We make a bit of contact there. I think I might have defended quite sharply to the inside, and you might have seen there that he was missing a bit of his front wing end plate. So I think that was due to the contact between me and him. So I think he might have to box again at the end of this lap, if I had to guess. And we'll see as we move through the next few corners. He's going to go quite deep into this chicane. We make more contact. I have to double check to make sure that we don't have any damage ourselves. But yeah, we're going to break away from him very quickly now as he struggles for grip through the corners. Lap 13, and this is my teammate Alex Albon, who is leading the Grand Prix by a lot, as you can see. However, he is about to DNF from the race. As you are about to see, he is going to pull over to the side of the road, and big puff of smoke out the back of his car. It's over for Alex Albon, and this has suddenly presented us with an absolutely golden opportunity. And then a safety car gets deployed, which immediately strips that golden opportunity away from us. Literally, I remember my exact reaction was something along the lines of, yes! And then immediately afterwards I was like, oh, never mind. Because we're actually in a worse position now than we were before. Before the pit stop phase, we were running in what, P5 was it? P6, something like that. And now we're running in P7 under the safety car. So yeah, this is not an ideal scenario, but we'll see if we can make the most of it. Try and get ahead of some of these hard compound runners before the end. And here we go. As we're on the safety car restart, I'm going to try and challenge Ricciardo down into turn 1. He's quite good at this track, and yeah, he tucks into the train, and that causes me to have to take evasive action in the braking zone, outbrake myself. I end up going round Gasly, and I have to give the position back because obviously I did it off track. And yeah, that is quite a silly sort of situation that happened there. It caused me to lose out to Esteban Ocon as well. So now I'm down at P8, and I'm coming under pressure from Kevin Magnussen in P9 as well. So this could be going from bad to worse here. You know, Jaguar are not having a good weekend at the moment, but Magnussen goes a bit deep into the corner, and that allows me to stay ahead in P8, but I am not going to settle for this position. You're going to be kidding me if you think I'm going to be doing that. Meanwhile, behind the safety car, as we were on the restart, this was also going on behind us as well. This is Felipe Drugovich battling with his teammate Teo Pourchaire to see which one of them is going to take up the penultimate position on the track, fighting over last place. And as you can see, Drugovich has gone straight into the back of Teo Pourchaire, and I mean, absolutely blown up the front of his car there. That is not what you want to see at all. But yeah, for some reason they didn't feel like they needed a safety car for that one, so we've managed to keep going, and yeah, make my way into P7. I think someone in front of me had a bit of an issue, so yeah, but we don't get much running off the safety car restart because of this. This was a very weird incident that brought out the safety car. This is Lundgaard and Latifi, the two teammates, battling with one another in the Aston Martin, and Lundgaard has to go off the track to avoid something, and in doing so, he puts himself on a curb, and as he reverses to try and correct himself, he perfectly positions his car on the curb where he gets stuck. and that causes him to get disqualified, bringing out the safety car. So we've lost 3 cars from this race: Albon, Dragovic and Lundgaard, and yeah, now we are with only 6 laps to go, running in P7, and we're going to try and put pressure on Esteban Ocon, who we've been racing with all Grand Prix, to see if we can beat him out for this P6, and maybe try and finish ahead of the Red Bull of Pierre Gasly as well. So hopefully we can have a slightly cleaner restart than we had beforehand. Ocon dives up the inside, and I am going to do the exact same thing. And we might be able to get ahead of Gasly here potentially, and indeed we do. Ocon up into P4 as well. That was an absolutely inspired dive bomb from him, making up 2 positions effectively because he was ahead of me. But we've also made up 1 position off the restart. Gasly, the biggest loser, losing 2 positions there, and maybe, just maybe, we can try and fight our way back into 5th here. That would be the that would be what I want. You know, we started 5th. If we can finish 5th, then I will treat it as a conversion, even if there was a retirement in front of us. You know, this has evolved into quite a chaotic Grand Prix in the end. I was thinking that, you know, not really that much has happened in this Grand Prix, but yeah, it certainly chose to prove me wrong towards the back end, the back half. Ever since that Albon incident brought out the safety car, there's been a lot of drama going on. And you can see that the gap in front of me is moving out quite a lot as Pierre Gasly pulls along my outside, and yeah, he is now through into P6 once again. So we didn't manage to get ahead of him for that long before he managed to make his way up into P6 once again. And maybe we can try and pile some pressure on him later in the race, but I don't think so. For now, I think we have to worry about Tsunoda, who's managed to make his way up from, I think he was P16 or 17 at the start, all the way into P8, so the strategy's clearly worked out for him. Verstappen has once again found himself in P9 as well, so yeah, despite the fact that he's the only person in this race to have stopped twice, he's still managed to cement a few points for himself, and we'll see where he can finish at the end of the Grand Prix. Obviously, I want to finish ahead of him. He's my rival. But as we move on to lap 26 now, you can see that we're kind of been stuck in this train a little bit. Ocon doesn't seem to have DRS to Russell, who's currently running in 3rd. So yeah, the train starts with Ocon. But we are going to see if with the DRS and with the battery, we can make it past Pierre Gasly and up into P6, as it will be on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. We went off the track a tiny bit there, but they said it was fair game. You know, I didn't gain an advantage from that apparently. So yeah, we're in P6. We're going to see if we can do anything. Maybe if there's some battling between Norris and Ocon, we might be able to capitalise on it in front. But yeah, as we round the Parabolica, or the Curva Michele Alboreto, whichever we want to call it, we go on now to lap 27, the final lap of the race. And yes, we are going to see whether we can get any more positions out of this. Battling going on between Norris and Ocon. I wonder who's going to win out from that one. Ocon has the outside line, so maybe we're able to sweep past. Can we get Norris? Of course we can't. It's the traction zone that I absolutely despise. And meanwhile, there's some kind of battling going on behind with Verstappen, Gasly and Tsunoda, because Gasly and Verstappen are dueling over that 7th place, and they've lost a lot of touch to me. So all I need to worry about now is the cars in front, and we will see if we can do anything against these guys. But these mediums are struggling a little bit for grip now, as you can see. I'm not taking the optimal line through these corners. I may be losing, you know, a 10th or 2 here and there, and I think that right there, that going a little bit wide through that corner, has probably cost us any chance of getting P5, unfortunately. Even with the DRS, even with the ERS, I just don't think we're going to be able to close these guys down before the end of the Grand Prix. We don't have that much battery left. I'm going to use as much of it as I can, but you can see they're just getting further and further away. I don't know which one of these guys is going to end up with it. The only thing I can hope for now is that maybe they take each other out at the final corner, but I don't think it's going to happen. And yeah, I think Ocon is going to hold off Norris to take P4 in this Grand Prix. Leclerc wins at home with Sainz leading home, a Ferrari 1-2, and we are going to cross the line to take P6. Not quite what I wanted from a race like that. You know, I was hoping that I would be able to capitalise on Albon not finishing the race to maybe get at least a podium, but to no avail, unfortunately.
There it is then, victory in the Italian Grand Prix, an historic race and an achievement they can be immensely proud of. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
I think the Tifosi will be overjoyed with that one. A Ferrari 1-2 at Monza. Doesn't get any better than that. Russell, the awkward outsider on the podium, but I think he's just happy to be there after the season he's been having. Yeah, I don't have too much more to say. We were not the stars of the show for a change, the team. We were nowhere in this Grand Prix, quite frankly. So, yeah, Ferrari's day today, and yeah, nothing more to add.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Well, not the result our points leader would have wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend for them as they fight their way towards the top. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, despite the underwhelming result, I would still say that on the whole, we're looking pretty good for the Constructors' standings. You know, Ferrari obviously gained a big haul of points today, but we still lead the championship by 140 points with only, what, 7 or 8 races to go now? I think is it 8? I'm trying to think. How many? What's left? Singapore, Suzuka, USA, Mexico, Portugal, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. 7. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So 7 races to go. 140 points would be pretty hard to overcome. I think Ferrari would need to have a better end to the season than I can anticipate them having. You know, the Red Bulls are still particularly strong. The McLarens are still particularly strong. Russell's pretty fast on his day as well. Even the Alpines have been getting in the conversation for the podium as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I just can't see it happening, quite frankly. But either way, the Drivers' Championship is where the real spice is. Because whilst I think that I've pretty much nailed on P2 with this result, you know, Verstappen also not really having a good outcome, I still really I can't believe that that Albon is wiping the floor with me in the championship in quite the fashion that he is. You know, we outscored him by 8 points, but with only 7 races to go, if I were to outscore him by 7 points in every single race, I would win the championship by 3 points. So effectively, if I win and he got second in every race from this point onwards, I would win the championship by 3 points. I guess that's not counting the Brazilian sprint, but that's only an extra point. So 4 points then, let's say, if that were to happen. But do I envision that happening? I don't think so, quite frankly. I can't see a world in which I win in Singapore, Japan, or the USA. The races after that, I think I could make a case for myself. They'll be hard, but I think I would probably be able to do it. But yeah, generally speaking, this has just not been the season where I've shown the kind of pace I've shown in recent years. You know, I think we're leading this rivalry with Verstappen once again, and if we win it, we're going to have to bump the difficulty up even more to 89. So it'd be quite remarkable, actually, if at the end of the season we could bump the difficulty up to 90 where we begun, and that's where we would begin F1 23 as well. You know, I'm very excited for F1 23, but at the same time, I do feel like I wanna start it on the best foot possible, and I think getting the championship win here will be a great way to mark out my intentions with F1 23. You know, I want to be fast from the off in F1 23. I don't want what happened in this game where we spent an entire season pootling around in 21st, 22nd, you know, those kinds of positions, because the car was just, you know, completely impossible to keep up with the others in a straight line. I wasn't even like compared to my teammate in most races after the first few races of the season. So yeah, I think it's going to be rough. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. If you want to watch me play more F123 than just on the channel, then make sure you follow my Twitch channel, which is linked in the description. Because yeah, once the game drops, I will be streaming it every single day on my Twitch channel. We'll also be doing daily uploads on this channel as well, so no problem if you don't have Twitch or you don't want to follow me. But if you are interested in more content, then definitely follow me over there. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.